Hey everybody, welcome back. I just wanted to do a little short video here to kind of give you an idea of some of the lab technologies we'll be using in this class. I know I've probably mentioned it from time to time, but I just kind of wanted to show you um, code labs, quick labs, and collabs. Um, they are three different things, and we'll be using some that I have made. We'll be using some that have been provided by Google. We'll be using some that I have found on the internet. But basically, these are going to give you hands-on experience with some of these technologies. So I've got three tabs open here. Let's make this a little bit bigger. Okay. So the first thing that we're going to be looking at here are code labs. Now, these are labs, and I've already talked about this, and if you've skipped ahead, you've already seen your first code lab that I actually created for you. But again, I've mentioned this before, codelabs.developers.google.com. This is open for anybody. Basically, this is a large repository of some of the different labs that are out there and available to you. Now, the one kind of caveat that I'll throw on here is that you've got to check when they were updated because not all of them are kept up to date. Sometimes you may see different interfaces, different APIs, and basically that's an older version of Google Cloud that you're seeing. You might have to tweak some things. The ones that you're getting in class, unless if something major has changed in between when I put it up and now, they should be fine. Or your lab manual will tell you what steps you have to take to get around something. But by and large, these are all wonderful labs that are available to you. And these are all indexed by Google. There's a lot of faculty and professionals out there who have actually created labs themselves as well. Um, I've got links to various ways to build code labs. If you are a developer at a company and you really like this type of interface, you can go to the GitHub link and build them yourself. It's actually pretty easy to build code labs. You can do it through Google Docs or through Markdown, honestly. But basically, they are guided, effectively, they're guided web pages that get you through things. So, for instance, here there is a tour of Cloud IoT Core, which we'll probably be looking at eventually, honestly, where you have step-by-step instructions for how to do something, right? So they will give you directions, and this will look like a normal lab manual. It's just kind of nicely presented, honestly. But you're going to get effectively an idea of how long something's going to take. You'll get code snippets and screenshots and things like that. And then by and large, hopefully, at the very end, they will tell you how to clean up what you've done because you don't want to do something in a cloud environment and then just leave it on because it'll keep consuming your resources. Again, shut down your virtual machines, clean up after yourself when you're done. You don't want your credits account to just be completely drained because, hey, I forgot to shut down that service. It just kept running. And lo and behold, I kept getting charged for it. So just make sure that when you're done with something that you clean it up. But the point here is code labs are kind of this nice little web interface for a lab manual. And what you'll be seeing in the class is I will more than likely give you a code lab to do, for instance, and then there will be an associated lab manual in like a Microsoft Word type of situation where do this step, take some screenshots, tell me what you did, tweak it to do this, submit in Blackboard, right? So this is Code Labs, and again, anybody can make these publicly available. The only thing you need is an account with Google to actually do the lab. But to actually read through it, you don't have to be logged in. The next one that we're going to look at are Quick Labs. Now, these are effectively curated, paid for, very similar lab type things where you go on a quest to complete something, you get badges, and there's lots of positive reinforcement for you to keep going on. But basically, these are a little bit more in depth. Well, not necessarily more in depth, but they're more kind of guided tours of something. So, for instance, if I want to learn all about doing IoT, Internet of Things type applications, I would go on a quest for that. And then here are a bunch of labs that will take me from start to finish, right? So here is a 40-minute lab, 45-minute. This one will take you an hour to get through. This one will take 50 minutes. And what you're going to see here, and again, let me zoom in a little bit, it tells you how many credits it costs. So Quick Labs, the one thing that I mentioned a few moments ago is this is a paid for service. So you don't have to pay for this if you're in the class with me, right? You will be getting credits for this to apply. Um, but just be aware that you have a limited number of credits to do things in here. So don't like just burn through them all and say, oh crap, we're out of credits. I can't do the homework anymore. Um, we should be able to get you more with no problem if that's the case. But there are a whole lot of things in here that are available to you. So what will happen is that you're going to get a large pile of Quick Labs credits from me, and you can honestly use them for whatever you want in here. Just make sure that you have actually gone through and made sure you have enough credits to do the class stuff. I'll put a number of credits that you need, and then you're going to have some left over as well. But there's lots of really interesting things in here. And honestly, this has been kind of pushed by the Google Cloud developers for getting up and running with Google Cloud. It's more kept more up to date. It's more in depth, and you can again use this to get badges. You can use it to get a lot of experience. And while it's not strictly official, you can use a lot of the concepts in here if you want to go for, say, a cloud certification type of thing where you get a legitimate, I'm a Google Cloud certified app developer or I'm an, AWS developer. Quick Labs are not also strictly specific to Google Cloud. They do have some AWS stuff on here as well. But again, just be aware that this is not, I can go through and do all of them. Each of these modules will cost something. But again, don't put your credit card in for this. You'll get credits from me if you're in the class with me. So we have Colabs, which was this first one. Again, Colabs developers, google.com. Quick Labs, quicklabs.com. The last one, which we may or may not use, it just kind of depends on how useful this is, but it is something that is interesting if you want to check it out, are Colabs. These are effectively a mishmash of like a code lab and a Jupyter notebook where this is all executable code, more or less, right? So if you've ever used a Jupyter notebook, basically it's a mishmash of Markdown formatting and Python code. So for instance, here, I've, let me zoom in on this again. I've highlighted a section here. Basically, I just clicked on it, and you see there's some code here. And I can click Run, and it will execute. So there's lots of collabs that are out there for, say, learning machine learning, TensorFlow. They're all going to be tied to Google services, more or less. These are also things that you can do as well. It's part of the Google Drive, or sorry, Google G Suite environment. You may see these in the class. At this point in my lecture development, I'm not sure if we're going to use them or not, but they're very useful tools. So again, if you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. And I hope you have fun with our labs. They are all more or less, at least I think they're interesting. So hopefully you find them interesting too. Bye, everybody.